My name is Bode Agusto. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm 66 years old. Went to primary school in Lagos, went to secondary school in Lagos, Methodist Boys High School in Lagos, and St. Gregory's College for my A-levels, and attended the University of Lagos. After I graduated from the University of Lagos, I went to do my 1-year national service in Imo State, and that was in 1977. Imo State used to be larger than it is now because it consisted of what is now called Abia State and Imo State. After my NYSC, I went on to work in the firm of accountants called PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're now called PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I worked there for about 11 years in all, and I was a partner in the firm when I left. Then, in between my years in Pricewaterhouse, I also worked in Citibank Nigeria for almost 3 years as an assistant vice president. It was called Nigeria International Bank, NIB, in those days. After I left Pricewaterhouse, I set up Agusto and Company and worked in Agusto and Co for 11 years before President Obasanjo invited me to come and work in the budget office of Nigeria as his Director General and advisor on budget matters during his second term in office. And after we finished in Abuja in May 2007, which coincided with almost exactly 30 years after I left university, I stopped doing 9-to-5 work. And I've been on the board of a few companies since then. I've done a little bit of consulting when people ask me to come and help out. So that's essentially what my life has been to date. In terms of my private life, I have a wife, I have 5 children, and they are doing their own thing in their own little way. These days I spend more time in Portugal than any other country. Because it's a small country, it's a peaceful country, the cost of living there is significantly lower than the cost of living in Lagos, Nigeria. And a lot of people retire from all over the world into that country. Life is generally peaceful and good. My childhood was great in the sense that we were living on Lagos Island. School was less than 5 minutes walk away from your house. And the only time I needed to travel any great distance to get to school was when I was doing my A-levels in St. Gregory's College. Because my primary school was like 3 minutes walk from the house. My secondary school was like 5-6 minutes walk from the house. So there were little or no stress. And we could move around freely in the neighborhood. We could play with our mates. We would go and play football at race course or what used to be the cemetery in Campus Square. But it is now a sports center, I believe. So growing up was good, the quality of education was good, and parents were caring, so we had a good life. When we were in Methodist Boys High School, we had a British gentleman who was our scout master, and he was a manager in the accounting firm Pitt Marrick, Castleton, Elliott & Co. And it's the firm that later became KPMG today. So he was our scout master, and a lot of us looked up to him. And apart from that, my mother also had a very close friend, Mrs. Randall, the wife of J.K. Randall. And her eldest son, Jai Randall, had qualified as a chartered accountant as well. He also encouraged me and guided me. So those were the two big influences. Going to MIT, MIT actually was not my favorite school. It's Wharton School of Business, that's my favorite school. But MIT is my second favorite. And one of the things I got in later life is that the law of life is grow or die. So even as an adult, one would need to continue to grow professionally. So continued professional education has been very, very important and key for me. So when people talk about MIT, they think a lot more about engineering, but they also have a good business faculty. And as we grew up in life, we saw very clearly that if you're working as a consultant, you are helping businesses to solve problems. And one of the key stakeholders that they care about a lot are the shareholders of the business. And in order to deliver value, competitive returns to the shareholders, you have to understand strategy that you're going to deploy in order to deliver value. So over the years, I've moved away from accounting, because when people call me an accountant, yes, I tell them I'm an accountant by training, but I'm not really an accountant by vocation. I'm more of a finance professional, because I've moved from the area of accounting into the area of finance, and also in the area of strategy. So that has been my professional direction. While I was in PwC as well, there were a lot of continuing professional education courses that we had to undergo to keep you abreast of current developments. It was an excellent training ground. Yeah. No, I didn't have Agusto & Co in mind when I did those things. In fact, I did those things after I had started Agusto & Co. But the story of Agusto & Co is worth telling as well, because when I started my career in Pricewaterhouse, now known as PwC, one of the things that I did deliberately was to improve my breadth of education. Most people who went through the accounting firm in my time did only one thing. They were either in the audit department, the tax department, or the management consulting department. I did all three, and it wasn't an accident, it was deliberate, because I wanted to improve my breadth of knowledge. My first 4 years were in the audit department. Then I went on to work in the London office for a year. Then I did like 3 years in 2 to 3 years, I can't remember, in the consulting side. Then another 3 years on the tax side. So that was essentially my professional work experience in PwC. So, and that has helped me very much in life, because the breadth of education is always useful. You're considering all these other things when you are making decisions as well. And it also helped me in the sense that I worked with a wide range of people while I was there in the various areas. Not really. UTC was an accident. An accident in the sense that in those days when they were doing NYSC postings, they would post you to a particular state. And then some of you will get what they called special posting, which means that they will not only post you to that state, they will post you to a specific organization in that state. So when our NYSC posting came out, I was posted to Imo State. I was also posted specially to go and work in UTC Motors in Aba. It was common for people in professional fields. It was common. There wasn't a special thing for me as such. It was relatively common. Maybe 40% of the postings will be special. So that was one of the reasons why I was encouraged to go to Imo State. Because another cousin of mine, who shall remain nameless, were both graduated from Unilag, was also posted to Imo State, and he changed his posting to Oyo State. So I said I had never been to the East before in my life, and I know directly the organization I'm going to work in, the city I'm going to work in, and I said, okay, I would go. So I was adventurous and I went, and I had a wonderful time in Imo State, working as an accountant in the branch that was in Aba. And we're selling motor cars, we're selling generators and a few other things there. So it was, the people welcomed me. I had a good time. Our orientation was at Government College in Umudike here. That was a miserable time for me because that was my first time of going to the bush in my life. Because everywhere around in Umudike was bush. And we spent 6 weeks there. But by the time we were spending 6 weeks there, I started to acclimatize, and then we went to Aba to start our primary assignment, and had a good time working there, because it was good experience for me, because the accountant was a nice guy and he allowed me to do more and more when he realized that I could do more. So he stepped back and allowed me to do more and more. So it was good working experience for me. I got into PwC by applying to work there. I actually applied to 3 public accounting firms there. And I applied to PwC, I applied to Akintola Williams, and I applied to Pitmarik, that is now KPMG. And all 3 of them offered me a place. Why did I choose Pricewaterhouse? I chose Pricewaterhouse because it was the smallest out of the 3. And I felt that they would pay more attention to our professional development. And I also established a pretty good rapport with the partner that interviewed us. He's still alive. His name is Mervyn Clive Taylor, MCT, we used to call him. He was the one that interviewed me, and I established a good rapport with him, and it made me feel welcome, even though my father would have preferred that I joined Akintola Williams, because Mr. Williams was his very good friend and classmate in secondary school, in CMS Grammar School. In fact, he also guided me as well, but in the end I chose Pricewaterhouse. Why did I leave PwC to go and work in Citibank? During my years in PwC, I had been consulting, working with a lot of top companies in the environment. But I was their problem solver, but I had never been on that other side before. So I felt I would gain by going to work on the other side and then coming back, which was exactly what I did. So in terms of challenges, the biggest challenges that we had at that time